All right, my name is Audrey Roberts, and today I'm going to share with you a tech tool that I think would be really beneficial for the students in our school and also for the teachers as well. This is a tech tool that is not very popular right now. It is still fairly new. However, I feel like it could be really beneficial and a great option for the students in our classroom. I feel like it would be great to promote global awareness and promote the digital citizenship that we're looking for in our students. And this tool is called Learn Around the World. So just a little bit about it. This is its logo over here. It is created by a nonprofit organization, and their whole goal is to promote global awareness in this digital citizenship, kind of like I said earlier. And with this tool, they have free virtual field trips, free guest speakers. There are premium virtual field trips as well. That is for Geo Plus members, which we'll talk about in the next slide. You can also book a private virtual field trip just for your class with what you specifically want. And it also connects teachers and classrooms together around the world, which is really cool. So just a few things about these. The free virtual field trips and free guest speakers are live events. During these events, the students in your classroom can ask questions, add to the discussion, and just become a part of the experience. They're not just passively watching it, they are actually interacting with the field trip and the guest speaker. And also with connecting teachers and classrooms together around the world, it's not just connecting the students. Their teachers can send requests for what they're specifically looking for their classroom when they connect with other teachers. And also teachers from all around the world can share their ideas that they're using in the classroom, which I think is really cool. So on to the cost. There is a basic membership. This is completely free. This includes the Geo Show events, which is the live events like the guest speaker and virtual field trips that I was just talking about. They also have resources for those events, Geo Show on Demand, and community resources, which is where the teachers and students are collaborating. There is a Plus membership. This is $25 for a half year, and this is only for a single educator license, so only one teacher can use that license. With this membership, you get the Plus resources along with priority for shows and printables. So this is the membership where you can get those premium virtual field trips, and also since the live events are live, there are only a certain number of classes that can join them. So if you have the Plus membership, you have a priority to join those over someone with a basic membership. There also is a multi-license pricing for this tech tool. For a building price, it's $2 per student for a full year or $1 for a half year. However, if we were to incorporate this in a district-wide use, it would only be $1 per student. So a little bit about the site. I kind of already talked about the live virtual field trips. Those are every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So you do kind of have to coordinate and change your schedule around that. And you would have to convert the Eastern time to whatever time zone your classroom is in. So you do have to work around those events. If you aren't able to attend the live event, they are recorded on their YouTube channel. So you can access them later for 3 days, I believe they said. So it is still an option. The students aren't just getting that same interactive experience that they would if you joined it live. There also is Read Around the World, which can sometimes replace the guest speakers. And those are virtual events where the guest speakers are all authors, illustrators, or they're just reading books, which is really cool because it's promoting the literacy that is needed. They do have a schedule or a calendar that shows what is coming up next and when these events will happen. And like I said, during the live event, students can join the discussion and ask questions and get their answers and feedback immediately, which I think is really cool. So going to their website here, this is what their homepage looks like. It kind of just mentions everything I talked about. They have a teacher portal where you meet with the community. And then they also have the free events right here and then the premium ones here. So if you go to, say, the virtual field trips, is called Geo Show. And you can see that the next one is all about Under the Sea. And you can see which national park it's in. It's in Indonesia, which is really cool because your students, at least in America, would never be able to experience that. And also has a countdown. These are, like I said, Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So there's the countdown for that. And then they do have a schedule. You can see the ones that have already been crossed off, but you can see all the ones coming up soon. So if you're looking for a specific event, you can go to their schedule and see, oh, I want to learn about Asian elephants, so this field trip will be perfect for my students. And then you can plan on doing it at this time. And it's also the same with the guest speakers as well. The guest speakers are not every Friday. They are not as often. It tells you what you could have for Read Around the World. And then this one, which I think just happened, so they don't have a timer on there yet, but you can see the spring schedule for who's coming up next. So if your students were reading a book by one of these authors, it could be a really cool opportunity for them to meet with that guest speaker and ask some questions. So they have those events, and then of course, if, like I said, if you missed the live event, they do have this YouTube channel where you can find them. You can see the ones that are coming up and when they're scheduled. They also have all these shorts and all these little videos, but they don't currently have any available because it's been 3 days since their last live stream. So rating this on the SAMR model, I believe that this could be considered augmentation or modification. It all kind of depends on how the teacher is using it in their classroom. I believe it could be augmentation because it does give the live virtual field trips and guest speakers that students would not otherwise be able to experience. Students could have the field trips and guest speakers in the classroom, or they could go on the field trips. However, that costs money. And it is harder to schedule those things in. While this makes the experience easier, and students are able to see places that they would not otherwise be able to see, like the Indonesia field trip, the students would not have the money to travel there and physically see that. So this just kind of is the next best thing with bringing it to them in a live event. It also could be modification. It makes it easier to connect with students and teachers from around the world. There are other ways to do that, but this kind of puts it all in one place. And then all people from all around the world can also connect with the same guest speaker or be at the same virtual field trip at the same time. So your class and your students can also get the questions and feedback from students from all around the world, which I think is really cool. And then rating it on the PICRAC model, I believe that it would be interactive and transformative. Now, of course, this depends on how you're using it. But I believe it would be interactive because students are interacting with it. They're interacting with the people in the field trips, they're interacting with the guest speaker, or they're interacting with other students or teachers. And then students would not otherwise have the opportunity to interact with those individuals or visit those places. So I think it is really transformative of the learning. It just makes it really accessible to students, and it's all in one place, which I think is really great. Now for the ratings, my first ratings are from Common Sense. So you can see in this picture that they have a 4-star learning rating and a 4-star community rating. Now there are only 2 reviews on Common Sense for this. Like I said at the beginning of this presentation, it is a newer tech tool. It is still being created and still being improved upon to make it the best that it can be. So not a lot of people, at least in America, have used it yet. When I was looking at the community page, there are a lot of teachers from different countries, which I think is really cool. So some of the pros that Common Sense gave was that live presentations give easy interactive access to far-off places. And I've kind of said that throughout this whole presentation. It just makes it very easy and interactive and engaging for the students. The cons was that much of the content seems to focus on just 3 parts of the world: Southeast Asia, Latin America, and the United States. And I can definitely agree with that. It does seem like a lot of their content is focused on that, especially for their virtual field trips. This may be because they are a newer tech tool. They may not have the resources to expand yet, but I'm sure they will as they grow and become better. And then the bottom line that Common Sense gave was that it's a unique way to take students on a world tour without actually leaving the classroom. It does need some basic technology and time zone coordination in order to join those live events. However, I believe that almost every classroom has that available, at least with the teachers' resources. Now, for the Common Sense ratings, like I said, it has a 4-star overall rating. The engagement is 4 stars, pedagogy is 4 stars, and support is 3 stars. Now, for a specific review, like I said, there is only 2 reviews on Common Sense. This first review is a pretty short one. Overall, they just share their concerns about the source or the resources only being available in 3 main parts of the world. They did give it 4 stars overall. They thought it was a great, engaging tool for the students to use. and it does meet like the goal of the site. They are doing what they say they will. And they also said that this is one of the lower cost programs that does this, which I also agreed in my research. I found that for this type of content, you are typically paying quite a bit for it, especially as a district or a school. Here is another specific review from Common Sense. This review is quite long, so I couldn't just show a picture. They shared how they used it. They gave it overall 4 stars, just like the other person, 5 stars for engagement. And this one is actually not from a teacher. This person is currently only in their teacher certification program, but they have still used it in their program where they're getting certified, and they really liked it. And they shared that in this source, which I thought was really cool that they have had the experience with it and really liked it, even though they haven't officially used it in their own classroom yet. So here's some more ratings. Because this is a newer tech app, it was harder to find ratings for it. So this one is at the bottom of this website, and there were 2 testimonials at the bottom. And overall, these are very positive testimonials. They like what the app does. They like the virtual field trips. They like the experience that the students get to be able to participate and really interact with other people, which I thought is really cool. And then for the competition, I did find 2 competitors for this app. They're not all exactly the same, but they're one of the closer ones I could find. The first one is called One Globe Kids, Friends Around the World. This is an app. It can only be found on the Apple App Store. So it is not as accessible unless you have iPads for every student in the classroom, which is not very likely. Most likely you have Chromebooks, if even that. Now on Common Sense, it did get a 4-star rating for learning and a 4-star from the community. People really like it. The pros for it was that it was upbeat, had relatable stories of everyday lives that helped kids learn about other cultures. The cons was that there was not enough from each country, in that, of course, it was only on the Apple App Store. And then the bottom line was that it had beautiful photos and high quality audio that added to the amazing cultural and social learning experience. I do feel like this would be a competitor, but not a great one. This one has more passive learning, which is reading the stories from other cultures. So you're not actually really getting the chance to interact with them or experience them through technology. So I feel like it does not have the same level of interaction and transformative learning that you would get with Learn Around the World. Another one is National Geographic Kids, which I'm sure most of us have heard of. This site has magazines, games, videos. It talks all about animals and a bunch of stuff. It's a great tool. It's free, and you can access it from any computer. It looks like this. Like I said, you can find a bunch about history. You can find a bunch about cool stuff. Like if you were going to promote global awareness, this country's one would be great. You can learn about any country you want. But it does lack that live aspect, in that interactive aspect with interacting with other people. This one also makes it so students can just kind of be passively learning and just kind of scrolling and not really interacting with what's actually available here. While in the live events, they are more likely to be engaged in interacting with that, because it's just more of a special experience that you would not get otherwise. So that is the end of my slideshow presentation. Overall, I think that Learn Around the World is a great tech tool. Although it is still up and coming and hasn't become very popular yet, I believe that it will. And I believe that it will give our students the opportunities to be engaged and be able to show their digital citizenship and be able to develop that, which is such an important skill in today's world. I also believe that this tech tool gives them an interactive experience they would not have otherwise. This tool is the most cost-effective that does this. And I also believe it's a great option. I think that the creators of it really care about the students, and they really focused on them when creating this app. So overall, I think it would be a great option for our school to consider implementing into our tech tools.